Where do I even start with this? Honestly, I was debating making this video, and I feel like now's the time for me to make it. As most of you know, 2K26 is my final game on purchase from this company, and I am heavily disappointed at how the 2K games are treated these days. If you've seen the latest episode of the Final Boss Talk podcast, I was disappointed heavily of what I saw on Metacritic. Now, it's not to say that Metacritic is like the ultimate website to look at, but it was looking at from my perspective and seeing how the games are compared to the classic games. It was disappointing for me because of what happened afterwards. The fact that 2K26 is not even an 80 out of 100 drives me nuts. And it drives me even more nuts when Strauss Zelnick says that they're proud of the Metacritic score. Now, I know that people are probably going to say that like the circle is green, so that means like it's still a great game. The only problem with me is that like when games are like great games, they usually get an 80 at least. Like 2K22, it was better than 20, but the fact that it didn't hit 80 kind of disappointed me. But I kind of understood it from a standpoint, and like 2K23 is on Metacritic the highest rated game with an 82 out of 100. That's the way that that's what 22 should have gotten. But then from 23, it just drops down to now it's at 78. And it's really just sad the fact that like these games have completely fallen off. Like Wrestling Gifts made a video saying that WWE games are at the risk of falling off, and I can confirm that they have officially fallen off. So why do I say the game is falling off? Well, I'm going to explain it right now in this video, so hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and we're going to get into it right now. So as you know, 2K22 was a step in the right direction. Despite 2K20's disastrous game, 2K22 was a big improvement. The graphics, the game engine, a lot of good stuff. That's not to say that it wasn't perfect, because it was not. I mean, my GM was disappointing. My factions was introduced, and that was a flop. Universe mode was pretty much the same, despite adding Superstar mode, which was kind of like a season mode, but in reality, it was just normal exhibition. Like there was no cuts, you couldn't do cutscenes, you couldn't do anything like that. My Rise was great, but it just didn't feel like a career mode to me because you just felt like you were just going towards like getting all the storylines. I just wasn't a fan of that. Showcase mode was decent for how it was. I like the unlockables in that. It was nice to see the 09 SmackDown 11 Raw arenas. It was nice seeing that we got the Raw and SmackDown from the pre-pandemic arenas, and the roster was big at the time. There was a lot of stars that were released, and they still made the cut. So, yeah, nothing wrong with 2K22. That game was a step in the right direction, and then it kept getting better with 23. Now, we loved the gameplay 22, so they enhanced it out, and it was still good. You know, we had war games. We had a better My Rise, in my opinion, with an actual ending story, and it was different. You had the men and the women. You had the women ending at WrestleMania and the men ending at SummerSlam. That was smart. You weren't getting the same exact thing. You were getting different scenarios. It made sense. The men's My Rise, you went off to the indies to rebuild your character, but you got fired. Like, that was good. And then, like, the women's side is underrated, in my opinion. That's probably one of the most underrated My Rises is the women's story, where you honor a legacy of your aunt, and it was just cool. And you got more choices to make too, and it really impacted your story. My faction, that was probably the best My faction it was. I've seen a lot of people praising 23's My faction, and I see why. I've seen videos about it. Shout out to Get Pun. Shout out Marcos Hamilton. Yeah, I think even Rivals Ringside did some too. I didn't watch Rivals, so I can't really confirm it that much, but I do believe he made content in 23. But 23's My faction was perfect for how it was. Besides, we didn't have Persona cards, so that's why I didn't touch My faction, because, you know, I love seeing the alternate tires, but I want to play with them in the other modes. Universe mode got a big upgrade with cutscenes, but wasn't perfect again. My GM got a little bit better, but not by much. And now we go to 2K24. Oh man, 2K24. Now, this is where the good comes in. So, they advertise 40 years of WrestleMania. They advertise it like hard. And then it was disappointing. 21 matches in a 40-year showcase. You couldn't do 40 matches, one match per Mania, or even do more than 40 matches like they did in 2K14. Like, oh my gosh, it's not rocket science. They skipped 2 Manias and you jump straight to Mania 3. There's no Mania 29, no Mania 32, no Mania 18, so we do not get Kurt and Brock, we don't get Rock and Hogan, we don't get Cena, Triple H. Like, there's so much. The Rock and John Cena in 28. I don't care. It was in 23. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And if you can't do that match, the Hell in a Cell match was right in front of your face, which was a classic match, and it was not in the game. What? And then, like, Mania 37, like, you could have done something there. I can't even think of a match you could have done Mania 37. Like, Sammy vs. Kevin, could have done that. Them having a WrestleMania match together with Logan Paul involved, that could have been a match they could have added. But no. Let's not do that. Instead, let's just put in other matches. Like, come on, man. Like, really? You really have to do that? You couldn't have given us... Honestly, that's just the worst. We're just getting started. Now, I will say my GM really got improved. We got trades, and there was talent scouts. I did appreciate talent scouts because it gave you more of a chance to get talent that you want. While it was a little annoying trying to scout for like a name like a Roman Reigns, you had to try to look at it the best you can. It was best, I would say. You had more GMs and you had ECW. The gameplay, I would say, was still the same. And it was really a common thing in this game. It's just they improved the cameras, they added ring announcing, they added new match types, added a new roster. But the things that pissed me off the most... Oh yeah, My Rise. Well, My Rise is forgettable, really. Nothing much happens in that mode. So, forget that. Universe mode is pretty much the same. New cutscenes, and that's it. That's it. Nothing else. But then we get to the worst parts. My faction. What the fuck did you do? 2K Pun did not have to spend $500 to open packs, and you didn't even give them half the cards. If that is not a scam, I don't know what is. I don't know what is a scam at that point. $500? Better spending like $1,000 opening so many of the same packs, and you didn't even complete the whole set. Like, bro, what? And we're just getting started. Someone on Reddit spent $400 for The Rock. $400 for The Rock. Like, I don't get it. My faction 24 should have been... They had the blueprint in 23. They had that. Copy and paste in 24. Just add Persona cards. Boom. They were part of my faction. That everybody could play. But no. Let's just mess it up because we know we're still going to get whales spending money no matter what we do. And then the Creation Suite. The Creation Suite was broken. It's still broken to this day. It's still broken. Ball glitches, hair colors, wrong images, etc. And like creations are the most important part of these games because it lets you create stuff and put your creativity to a new level. That's people like me, 2K Pun, Amanda, where we create characters because we want to expand our roster. We don't just create, we download calls from community creations. And why would I download calls that have a ball glitch just because they have a stubble hair feature. That's not that big of a problem. It was not even a big problem. It was a good idea to make better hairstyles. And like, there's nothing wrong with having this stuff, and then when you patch it out, it breaks the creation suite. And they advertised the creation suite like hard with new features that made the creations look fire. You didn't need to put a face photo. You didn't need to import your face. You already had the face texture made it look like you just imported your own face. That's how great those calls were. Like, 24 was the start of it, and it was on 25, and it was just, oh man. Now I will say, 25 is probably one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. Now, I'm not saying that like the modes were good, because they were not. This was the first game to have the island, which was a disaster, I would say. The unlockables were good, but the fact that like 2K they even advertised it on their own website as the biggest mode they've ever done, is a game-changing mode, and it was something to do with microtransactions. All this hype just for microtransactions. Now, despite all that issues, despite my faction being butchered, this game probably had, in my opinion, the best My Rise of all time. Like, you had a male and female together, but they weren't act together until like later on in the story. And what made it the best was that the story was actually perfect for a My Rise. It was actually perfect. It didn't feel like a My Rise. It felt like a career mode. It wasn't My Rise at all, and that's what I loved about it. Because I feel like My Rise is just a dumb name for a career mode. My career mode, or like a Road to WrestleMania, seems perfect for that little career thing. And the fact that like your second character betrays you when you don't even expect it. CM Punk betrays you, but honestly, like, I'm gonna make a video about the hidden signs CM Punk was gonna betray you. I think thinking of that video, and I just think that like I gotta watch more people play My Rise and see like what I didn't see, what I could see from other people. So maybe I'll do a video on that one day. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Would y'all want to see a video about me discussing the inside Punk's betrayal? I don't mind covering that. But yeah, but the best part of that was the replayability. You had like so many options in that branched out, and it gave you more better unlockables. Like if you replayed the mode a second time, you get the Raw 2011 arena, you get 2 manias, you get a lot of new superstars. Like there was a lot of stuff to do. Like I could replay My Rise like 10 times. I would not get bored. That's how great that mode was to me, and I loved it. Love it, love it, love it. The gameplay was good. I liked now 24, they have the new blood mechanics, which was great, but then they expanded it on 25, and then you have Intergender Wrestling 25, which was great too. Now the gameplay was still the same, but we had new features. The barricade stuff, we had some new weapons, a new roster. Like the gameplay was similar, and we were catching up on that. But I'm not going to talk about that, because right now we're going to talk about a game that, in my opinion, dropped the ball and was the reason WWE games have fallen off. Now with 2K26, this game is the most predatory practice game I've ever seen. And let's be honest, like, is it any surprise given what's going on with 2K? Like, every single time they add a mode in, it has to do with microtransactions. And let's face it, they make the money from it because the fanboys spend it. The whales spend money on the game. We don't spend the money unless we feel like it. Like, now I know the pricing and the card packs aren't the same, but it's not gonna be the same soon. Wait till Infinite cards hit the packs. Those prices can be expensive as shit. And when they got expensive as shit, I ain't paying that. Why would I spend $100+ on a box when I can wait to the card market updates? And then like my faction is the worst. I'm gonna say this right now, it's worse than 22. Why do I say that? Simple. At the start, all these live events, and you couldn't even get the cards you need because the packs were so bad. And then like we're gonna do a grind method, and then they patch it. They added cooldown. They nerfed the MFP. They ruined my faction. And like a lot of us don't play my faction that much anymore. I only play it just to get the Persona cards, and that's it. Like once I have all the Persona cards, I'm done with my faction. I'm done with it. Universe mode is probably the best it's been, I would say, because you had more variety. Like you had a draft, you had promos. That's why I didn't say for 25 was best, because you had a draft in 26, which was pretty good. It kind of resembles SmackDown Shut Your Mouth season mode draft. You have promos, you have the promos with championships, and like you had more cutscenes, you had more freedom. Like there was some good in it, and the ragdoll physics were back. Weapon physics were back, and there was a lot more weapons to play with, and showcase mode was good. 25's Bloodline showcase was great too. That's a good. I forgot to say that. The island got improved a little bit with a better story, and you have a way to grind VC with the towers, but it's tedious given that the servers can cut off. I'm gonna get to my rise last because I have a lot to talk about that. The ringside pass is the stupidest thing I have ever seen in a game called WWE. Why do I have to pay for tier skips in a freaking game? Why would I have to spend $70+ to rank up level 40? This is not the right idea to get people to play this game. And it got worse with season 1. Why in the world would you have every superstar unlocked with the supercharger locked behind the ringside pass? If that's the case, that should have been all of my faction personas from the previous games. But no. Let's not do that. Let's put them all in my faction, because they were all my faction persona cards. And let's take all DLC from 25 and just shove them into my faction. John Cena main 41, persona card. Ron Cena, persona card. What the fuck? Now, it did get better as time goes on. It did get better. But again, why is there a ringside pass in a wrestling game? Why? That's a genuine question. Why? I'm not gonna go on a full rant about it. I've seen people say, done rants about it. Shout out Steven Richards. He helped us out with the ringside pass. If it wasn't Steven Richards, we would still be this problem. Now, finally, my rise. Oh yeah, before we get to my GM, I keep forgetting about all these other modes. Maybe it's because I'm just so fed up with this company. But my GM is better. We have more match types and multi-person matches. That's cool. My rise. It's fucking boring. My rise in this game is the worst my rise I've ever fucking played. Both, it doesn't even matter what you do. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking thing. You fight Braun Breaker regardless if you're a face or a heel. You replay it, it's not anything special. There's so much, bro, this My Rise shows how lazy and despicable 2K is. They put more time into adding an island expansion and a My Faction patch than My Rise. Instead, it's cleared out with live event matches that nobody wants to play. You went from a great My Rise in 25 with live event matches that were just side quests to literally putting it affecting the damn story. Why? And it made the mode fucking boring. And to the point where I was so glad to be done with that mode, because I do not want to play that mode again in 26. Doesn't matter what you do, the unlockables don't even matter. It's fucking boring. And we are now to the point where the wrestling is falling off once again, because 2K does not care about their game, especially when the game just came out. They announced on an earnings call that the next game is already in development, not even worrying about the game they just launched. And I've seen the performance on Xbox. That just shows that they don't care about this game, and they're all about money and greed. And with that, I am glad to say that I am done with 2K. They have lost a customer, and I am not buying a game from them again. They can create a story back in 27, and I could care less. There is nothing they can do about it. They can do nothing, because my rights, they can make the best Mario 27, don't care. Universal Community Proof, don't care. My faction and island removed, don't care. They've already upset me to the point where I'm not buying a game from them again. I am done.